Hi, this tutorial is going to talk about how to create a quiz with a point system so that different results show depending on what the point value is. Whether you do this as a bucket feature, meaning that one set of questions denotes one set of results, or you do it as a total points across multiple questions, which is kind of like grading a quiz essentially, where a certain amount of points will get you a different score, which will put you into a different category and a different set of results will show. So in this one specifically, we're going to go through what I call the bucket style, which means that, say, for instance, as you can see in our call to action here, it's do you suspect a deficiency? So each bucket would denote maybe a different vitamin, and each option for all of the answers would denote different features and different symptoms that that vitamin deficiency may have. So each question then, if they said had an iron deficiency, you would want something to be displayed as a result that denoted like helpful information for someone who has an iron deficiency. And the same with other kind of vitamins. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through how to do that. And then at the end, I will discuss how to just do a full pointed value across all questions. So let's get started. All right, so first of all, we're going to find our form plugin. So let's go form. We're going to drag and drop that guy over here right below. Perfect. Okay, and it auto puts in name, email, message. So for the sake of this tutorial, we're not going to worry about name and email. You would want to put that on your own quiz, and then you obviously want to integrate it with your automation system, whether it's ConvertKit, ActiveCampaign, MailerLite, all of those different things. And you can do that by just doing action after submit and then adding your favorite item that is integrated in Elementor through here. But we are not talking about that. I'm just talking about setting up your quiz here. Now I have one disclaimer for this quiz setup. So this is the simplest no code option for creating a native quiz on your website, and it's the easiest way you could possibly do it. So there are a couple disclaimers here is that because there is no thank you page that is generated using this, it is harder to track. So if you want to track the conversions for your quiz lead magnet, you'll need to take the visits for your landing page, which is this page, and then divide it by how many people have actually signed up here, and then look at like timeframes and different things there. So that's a little bit more math on your side or a little bit harder to gauge performance there. So it may not be appropriate, but if you're doing this all yourself or you're a developer and someone has requested this of you, this is a quick, easy, down and dirty way to add it to the site without having to incur any more subscription fees, because we all pay way too much in subscription fees. So let's cut one out. All you need for this one is Elementor and Dynamic Elementor, dynamic.000, and you are totally fine. And I use Dynamic Elementor on all of my builds, so all of my different tutorials should actually be utilizing that plugin as well. I highly recommend it. It makes your websites amazing and gives you so much functionality. Okay, back to the tutorial. So let's go in here and let's go into form fields and let's just cut this guy out. So we're cutting everything out. Then you're going to open up the name and we're going to change this. This is now going to become a checkbox because we want each option here to have a different point value. And for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to mark them all as 1 point. So let's give it a couple options. We're going to make it a 1 through 3 for the sake of this. So option 1, and then we give it the point value. So you want this pipette, so the vertical line, and then we're going to give it a value of 1. And then the same for a few more, just to give it a couple of options here. Option 3. Oop, I'm giving them the wrong point value. Let's go back. You can also give them however many points you want. So if something's way more important and you want to weigh it higher, you can give it a different point value. So let's just add a few more here. And then one last one. Okay, next up is you're going to go into the advanced tab. Well, actually, first of all, let's give it a label. So this is going to appear on the front end for someone. So we're going to do check all that apply. Okay, now let's move on and go into the advanced tab. In the advanced tab, you want to give the ID something really unique. Because we are doing what I call a bucket quiz, which each overall question, so this whole field right here, we want the total for each of those to denote different results. I want to give it, we're just going to call it bucket 1 and make it really simple. So bucket 1, easy, done. Okay, next up is we need to do an amount for this. So the amount comes in and you want to go to the type and then you scroll down to amount. This doesn't actually need to have any label that's visible for the front end user, but it's nice for you to have a reference of which one it coordinates with. So if you get a bunch of questions in here, you know which amount goes with which set of questions. So it's kind of for your own view. We're going to do a height amount, but we're going to do it at the end because you want to make sure that it appears correctly first. Okay, so bucket mount, and then we're going to go form, semicolon, and then we're going to use that unique ID that we utilized on the actual question, bucket 1. That's going to bring up the total number of points that they accrued from that question. Now, if you want to add in multiple questions here to have a total over multiple questions, all you have to do is plus form and then put in whatever the next one is. So if you duplicated this, that's what this does. And then you gave it a bucket 2 field, that would then give you the total value of those 2 items. This is how you would calculate a full total across the whole quiz. You would take all of the questions with a point value and put them in here as the plus. And then it would give you a total value, and then you can have different results displayed depending on what their score is. All right, so that guy is done. Let's get rid of this because we are just doing an example here. I'm going to do something crazy and I'm going to add in some steps just because I find it easier to visually separate things. So let's do this. And I also find steps are kind of nice for quizzes because people get really overwhelmed when they see a big long list of things. So it automatically puts in the number 1. You don't have to do anything there. And then this one goes to the end. We're just going to move it up. This is going to move all of the amounts to the very last page. And usually you'd want, say, these 2 to be on the same one so that the last page isn't just empty as it will be in our example. But because it's easier for us to visually see how things work out this way, I'm going to do it on a separate page. And it's good to also call these things, like I'm going to call this amount. If you're actually using these labels, then obviously call it something appropriate for your people. But if you're just using it for your own reference, amount, perfect. And then you know that it's denoted between those. Okay, so from there, we have this all set up. Perfect, right? Okay, next up, we want to create that results page. And so this is actually going to attach results to this form, meaning that anything you put on the template is only going to be this wide. So be aware of that in your design. If you do utilize this method, is that you may need to do a full width form instead to have it appear the way you want it to appear. All right, we don't need email and we don't need collect submissions. All right, so then we're going to go down and we are going to do a message generator. You know, when you send in a contact form, sometimes they just say message sent. That's essentially what we're creating with this, is we're creating that message, but we're doing it via a template with dynamic visibility. So go into the message generator and you'll see it's just in general. This is what would appear if the form was submitted without anything else. Now we want to make it actually show the results and utilize the questions here. So there's a couple of things we want to do. First of all, we want to hide the form after submit so it feels like it's a whole new page, kind of, in a way. And then we want to go to template. So template's going to be where we're going to create that dynamic results page. And because we don't have one already selected, we're going to have to add one. So you're going to click the plus. It opens up Elementor templates. I usually just do single post here. You can honestly do whatever you want because it's not going to be located anywhere. I denote that it's a quiz and then what the quiz is called. So this is a weighted quiz. Okay, and we don't need anything like this. Now I have a couple of things just already done over here, and I'm just going to copy and paste those onto here. Paste. Make our life easier. Okay, new section. And I like to put the different results into different sections. It's not the most performance beneficial way of doing it, but I think if you are new at this and this is kind of all just like a lot, I think sectioning them off like this will make it easier for you to think about them as different different things you can use the dynamic visibility for. Okay. All right, so now we have two sections. So if the point value is 0 to 1, this section should appear. If it's 2 to 5, we want this section to appear. So the next question is, how do we do this? And we do this by going to visibility. We're going to turn that visibility on. Let's make sure that we're in the right section. Oh, we're not. Okay, make sure you're in the section. Visibility, turn it on. And then you're going to go down, and we actually don't need any of these. I like to get rid of them, but they will all appear the first time you open it. We're going to go to dynamic tags. And then we are going to click the dynamic tags, dynamic little button here. Go down to token. Token is really where the functionality of dynamic Elementor comes into play, and it's amazing. It's magical. Okay, so we go into token. Then you're going to enter in form. So we're going to do those brackets just like the example form. And then you're going to enter in the ID that you used for the total amount. Okay, so let's go back and just verify that we entered that in. So go back up and just scroll back to here and go to bucket. Did we give it a unique one? Oh, we didn't. Okay, so we need to give it a unique ID, and we're going to call it V1 total. So that this one and this one match. All right, then we're going to go to less than, and we're going to put the point value. So we want it to be less than 1.1, let's just say. So that means this box appears if their total points for that specific amount is less than 1.1. And then we just have to do the opposite for this one. So I would just copy and paste. It's easier with copy and paste. Go in here, visibility, turn it on. Go down to dynamic tags, same thing, go to the token. Go to the greater than this time because we want to show things that are greater than 1.1. Oops, 1.1. And then we go token. We're going to paste that same thing, form B1 total, and then we're going to publish. And just verify there's no hidden visibilities here that snuck in when we were messing with things. Okay, perfect. All right, let's go back over here. Okay, so now we have to bring that template to show over here. So let's go back down to message generator. We're going to bring up that quiz. Just type in the title you used. Okay, everything's there. Let's update here. All right, so we want to test this now. So let's do a preview changes. It's going to bring up our guy. You're just going to click a couple, however many you want here, just to test it. You're going to see that the bucket is still showing. We do need to hide that after we test it. All right, next up we go to send, and then it shows we selected 2 to 5 items, so 2 to 5 points, and it showed that results only. Notice that the 0 to 1 points does not show. So you can do this for as many different parts of it as you want or as a total, however you want to divide up the quiz, but just don't forget to go back and hide that field. So we don't want the amount to show. No one needs to know that that exists. Hide amount, update, and that's how you build a quiz. Don't forget, if you need to integrate it with your email system, you do that in the back end of Elementor, putting in your API information, and then you can access that via the after submit, entering in something like ActiveCampaign, And then your information will show up here because you will have filled out that little bit of a form in the back end. All right, I hope that helps everyone, and have a lovely day.